What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to show you how to track a meal using a food scale in MyFitnessPal. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so first things first, you got to make sure that you've got MyFitnessPal or the food tracking app of your choice downloaded onto your phone. So assuming that you're doing MyFitnessPal with me today, you're just going to want to make sure that you've got this blue icon with the Michael Jordan-esque dude dunking on it, and you'll be good to go. After that, it's really just about jumping into the app and getting cozy with some things. So as you can see here, I've pulled up basically a brand new day, and you'll see that I've got 0 at the top. I've got 0 for calories and food and exercise and all this stuff because I just haven't eaten anything yet today. We're gonna assume that we're making breakfast together. So basically what we're gonna do here, really simply, is we're gonna click on this add food button. Adding food may seem super obvious. If you've been using the app before, it'll show you all the foods that you've had in the past. But what you're probably gonna wanna do is assuming that there's something that we're gonna scan in this meal, is you're gonna be wanting to check this scan barcode option up here at the top right. So I'm gonna click on that and show you where to go from. Wait, what? Oh yeah, no, it's the barcode. It's all good, it's all good. And today we're gonna be making an absolutely snitchin' bowl of oats, muesli, some nuts, some surprise fun foods that I really like to throw into my diet, some berries, other things, and it should be awesome. Not only that, but this is a breakfast that I actually eat from time to time, so it's not just a thought experiment here for a YouTube video. I eat this often for fat loss phases, for muscle building phases, for maintenance phases. I eat it all the time, so you can know that this meal is a legitimate option that you could put in sort of your meal repertoire when dieting for fat loss. And one final tip before we actually jump into building the meal, I always recommend that people put the foods into the app first before actually building the meal out in person, because there's a good chance, if you've never done this before, that you really don't know how many calories things have in it. So the perk of building the meal out in the app first is that you know that your macros are going to be hit to the target. You don't have to be the guy who afterward is like, oh man, that bowl of oatmeal was actually 1,000 calories and that wasn't a part of the goal. So I made a full video on that. I'll link it in the description, but don't make the mistake of eating the food before you log it and then realizing that you totally blew your calories and macros out of the water in a bad way. All right, so let's blast through this. So first things first, we're making a bowl of oatmeal. Means you need a bowl, so get your bowl. This may seem really obvious, but if you've never done this before, it's not. Literally just put the bowl on the scale, super easy. You're gonna turn your scale on, hitting the on button, and as long as you put the bowl on first, it should, automatically go to 0. If for some reason you were to, for example, turn the scale on, no big deal, put the bowl on afterwards, obviously it's gonna give you the weight of the bowl. You just want to make sure that you use this 0 or tear feature that some of these scales have. So just make sure that you zero out the scale before you get started. All right, the next part's super obvious. We're basically just going to kind of get going with the oats here. So basically, pop this sucker open. Assuming that your scale is still zeroed, which it is, we're just going to literally put some oatmeal in this bowl. So given that we're not really trying to hit any specific macros for this meal, we're just going to do 1 serving, which is, 40 grams. And oh man, there you go. Showing up for the video. It might not be super clear on the video, but trust me, it says 40 grams. That's all we need to do. Now, since we're gonna be adding more things to this, maybe one thing that, Coda, do you need to drink water right now? In the middle of the video? Do you need to? Maybe later? So another thing we're saying that may not be obvious is you don't have to measure everything individually. You can just zero out the scale, which is what I'm gonna do, because we're gonna add more stuff into the oatmeal bowl. And the next thing I'm gonna add is some of this muesli. So I don't even really know what muesli is. I'm really just throwing it here in the video because I bought it recently because, I don't know, it just seemed fun to experiment with. I got the gluten-free kind, I'm not really sure why. But basically, it's just something else that we can throw in the video to just show you how this works. So what we're gonna do is basically add 1 serving to the mix. As you can see here, 1 serving is gonna be about 120 calories. And you know that because it says 29 grams. So just to be clear, that's what you're going for whenever you're building out a meal. You gotta be nailing these things in grams. And again, check to make sure that your scale is zeroed out. It is, we're good to go. And we're gonna get after it. Let's see what 29 grams looks like. It ain't gonna be much, people. Ooh, ooh, oh, hard to read this upside down. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? 28.1, 28, 30. I blew it. So technically, if you're being hardcore, you pull out 1 gram. I don't care that much for this video. So we're gonna call it good. 29 grams, 30 grams, it's all good. Okay, now the next thing we need to do before we get too far ahead is we need to start actually putting these in the app. So we're using MyFitnessPal, pop it open. I'm gonna use a brand new day. I'm gonna use tomorrow because anything is possible tomorrow. Click on breakfast, assuming this is breakfast, and then click on the scan barcode option, and it's gonna pop up. It should give you a camera, which makes sense. And you're literally gonna find the barcode on the objects that we just put in the bowl. So literally scan the barcode using the phone. Boom, it pops up. You're gonna see that it says oats, and it should reflect the information on the nutrition label of the oatmeal. It does, checks out 150, 150. Macros line up. To be fair, sometimes they will be slightly different, but I find that generally they are the same and it's not worth fretting about. So if you do find a food that's a little bit different within a few calories, or maybe the macros are a little bit skewed based on what you see on the label and what you see in MyFitnessPal, don't worry about it. The scanned version is probably the most accurate thing that you could find in the database. Now, another thing worth noting in MyFitnessPal is that you can change the serving size on most items to benefit you. So we'll see what we got here. Some are better than others, but if you change the serving size, it comes up to a couple different options. Sadly, I will say one limitation with some of these apps is that not all of these are super correct. You know, like for example, here it gives us 0.5 cup, 1 cup, and like teaspoons and all this stuff. Really, the only things that you should be measuring in are grams. So if it has a grams option, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have to do a little bit of math in your head, which is why I recommend sticking to the serving size or like easily divisible numbers of the serving size, if that makes sense. So like, you know, if you wanted to do 2 servings of that, it would be easy because you could just do 2. But say, for example, you just kind of freestyle your oatmeal and it's like 63 grams. You're just gonna have to do a little bit of math in your calculator to get this right. And I understand that that's annoying. But for our purposes here, that's why we've kept it simple. 0.5 cups, 1 serving, 150 calories, and we're gonna keep going. Next thing we're gonna do is add the muesli. So we've got the muesli bag here. Again, we're just literally scanning it into the phone with that camera feature. Find it, scan it, searching, boom. It shows up. So first things first, we wanna verify that the information is consistent. It does check out. Both of these are 120 calories for the serving size. And that's what we did. So we're just gonna check mark it and keep going with the meal. So the next thing we're gonna add to this kind of like bowl of oatmeal and muesli is some hemp hearts, which is something that I'm a big fan of. Goes really good in yogurt smoothies and oatmeal stuff. So I'm gonna throw 10 grams of these in, which will be a good practice for like manipulating serving sizes in the app. So we're just gonna make sure that our scale is zeroed out, and we are going to pop in 10 grams of hemp hearts. All right, now one thing you'll notice about these hemp hearts is that it comes up with the full serving size. We didn't use the full serving size. We actually used 1/3 of the serving size. So what I like to do is select the number of servings icon here. It's gonna let you pick between whether or not you want a decimal number or a fraction. I always do decimal. I'm a decimal guy, it just makes things easy. Since I did 1/3 of the servings, we're gonna do 0.333. So 0.333, going into the app, you can check it out right there, and it's gonna adjust the calorie value for you. Dope. Hit the check mark, boom, and it logs it into the full meal, and we just keep going. All right, so even though hemp hearts are a really good source of fat, I just wanted to, shake it up. Throw a few more fats in there because they're just really good for you. And if you keep them like controlled in terms of your portion, it's really nice to be able to throw them into a breakfast. So we're gonna throw some mixed unsalted nuts in here, and we're gonna do 14 grams because a full serving is 28 grams. Don't really wanna spend 170 calories on nuts. We're gonna slice that in half, and it's gonna be 85, math? There you go, guys. 14 grams of mixed nuts, and what you will find is that that is not many nuts. Look at this. That's all you get for half of a serving of nuts. It's kind of crazy, and it just shows you how much like our portions are just kind of out of control normally, and people think, well, I don't really eat that much, and then you actually log all this stuff and you realize you do in fact eat that much. Sweet, so we've got the nuts in here, and now it's time to add a little bit of milk. So I've got, for this little breakfast that we're making, I got some flax milk. To be fair, I don't usually drink this. I treated myself this week. Normally I just do a regular almond milk. Do whatever milk you like, just track it accordingly. So I'm gonna go for whatever just feels good. And this is actually a good opportunity to say that sometimes when you're making a meal, not everything has to be like exactly whatever it says on the label. It doesn't necessarily have to be 240 milliliters. In fact, this whole bowl of oatmeal would be just completely drowning if I did 240 milliliters. So I'm literally just gonna do it to my preference and then show you how to track that. So again, scale is zeroed because we're still building into the meal, and I'm just eyeballing this, right? I like my oats kind of covered, definitely not too runny. Boom, perfect, about that consistency. And it looks like the scale shows 123.4 grams or milliliters. Good time to mention that grams and milliliters are the same when it comes to weighing it on your food scale. Some scales will have a milliliter option. If they don't, use the grams. Sweet, so now we're just gonna log this into the app with that 123.4. I don't do like 0.4, I'll just round up to 124 because I'm trying to lose fat right now. And we'll just look what that, we'll just see what that looks like. So again, scan this sucker in, just grab it, scan barcode, boom. Hopefully this will have an option for, oh, look who got smart and went behind the camera. So I thought this would be cool to show you. Serving size again. Oh, milliliter is an option. That's really dope because we're gonna choose that. And now we can just do literally the 124 and you will see that it does shake out to what this would be. So that's clutch. We're gonna enter that in and you can see the meal is updating as we go and we have a few more items to add. All right, the second to last thing we're gonna add to this meal is some fresh cut strawberries. So slice these beforehand. And it can be a totally arbitrary amount. Again, if you have like hyper specific macros you wanna hit, do what you need to do in terms of getting this number accurate. I just cut up 3 or 4 strawberries and we're just gonna see how much they weigh and we're gonna track them. So here we go. Again, making sure that the scale is zeroed out. And we're literally just gonna plop these suckers into the bowl. Nah, it looks good. Sweet. Strawberries in the bowl, and we've got 118.9, basically 119 grams of strawberries. Looks really good. Let's throw some cinnamon on there for a little bit of aesthetic value. Ground cinnamon. Also using this opportunity to say that generally just not worth tracking stuff like cinnamon, salt, unless you have a need to like keep track of your sodium, black pepper, stuff like that. Pick your battles. Tracking your food can be tedious enough. I would not recommend tracking your cinnamon. So here we go. Douse it a little bit for the gram. And you're looking good. So this is basically our meal. Yeah, look at that. Good there, it's good, 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 good. And to be honest, I would probably, you're probably wondering like, dude, are you gonna cook the oats? I actually like to eat these chilled. So basically I'll put this in the fridge and then eat this maybe in 10 minutes, or you could be doing this before bed and you could just throw it in overnight and you could have really nice chilled oats overnight. So now we just need to throw the strawberries in there, and this is another really good teaching moment because anytime that you have a fruit, it's a good idea to just type in USDA in front of whatever fruit that you're typing in. So I'm just gonna put it in USDA strawberry and basically look for, and I'll show you guys this, you basically wanna look for a 100 gram value that tends to check out across generally like multiple entries within the system. You can always fact check this online if you need to, but generally the top entries are going to be correct. So for example, strawberry raw USDA generic 100 grams is coming up to be about 32 calories per 100 grams. I've seen that entry a few times in here, so we're going to trust it. It's going to be good to go. Definitely with fruit, don't ever do things like descriptive terms for the serving size. Like if you type in a banana, for example, you'll get something like 1 medium banana, 100 calories. Nobody knows what a medium banana is. What does that even mean? So make sure that you're doing things in grams that you can track, because that's what we're doing here. We're tracking food. So here I go selecting the 100 gram value for 32 calories, number of servings. Do a little math on the decimal front. So, you know, it's 119 grams, 1.19, or you could change it to 1 gram and just do 119. Just be a smart kid about it, right? So we've got that popped in there. Coming in at 38 calories. And you'll see this is why strawberries are such a popular pick for fat loss diets, because they just don't have that many calories. So you can kind of smash a lot of volume and get away with it. So anyway, we're back here, and basically our entire breakfast is logged. And in the books, you can check it out here. Breakfast, boom, it's showing up as 401 calories. If you want to, since it's the only meal of the day so far, you can tap this upper bar up here, and it'll take you to the macro page, and it'll show you kind of the macro breakdown for this particular meal. This is technically the full day view, but since it's the only view, or it's the only meal that we've done today, you're only going to see the meal. So you'll see that this meal is broken down into 56 grams of carbs, 12 grams of fat, 16 grams of protein. And if you're on my channel much, you know that 16 grams of protein is not much. So what do we do about that? So generally speaking, I encourage people to get about 20 to 50 grams of protein per meal. And since that was only 16, that's definitely not going to make the cut. I'm going to throw a Greek yogurt in here, because Greek yogurt is just kind of a fantastic protein source. It tends to be very low calorie, very low fat, very physique friendly if you have a fat loss goal. This one only has 100 calories for the whole thing, and it has 13 grams of protein. That would take this meal to 29 grams of protein, which is a little bit low for me personally, but that's going to be plenty for smaller people and especially women. So anyway, throw in the protein yogurt in the mix. Let's scan it into the app. All right, perfect. So now we've got this in here. It took our breakfast to a total of 501 calories. Another cool thing I want to show you guys is that you can flip your MyFitnessPal entry sideways and get to see the meal view, which I stole from a YouTuber a long time ago when I was getting into this, so I want to share that with you. Basically, make sure that you don't have like your vertical lock screen on. If you turn it sideways, it will basically give you this option where you can sort of see the macronutrient breakdown per meal that you really can't find anywhere else in the app. And I say that because at some point you're going to want to know exactly what's in each meal, how many grams of protein is going to be the best one. As you can see here, the protein shakes out to 29, just like we thought it was, which is great for muscle protein synthesis. So anyway, just wanted to share that hack with you. And guys, that's that. That's how you track a meal using a food scale in MyFitnessPal. Obviously, you can use other food tracking apps. MyFitnessPal is just what I've always used, and so it's very natural to me. And for anyone who's working with me, I encourage you to start there just because I can help you the most in that app. If there's a one out there that's better for you, use that, lean into it. And yeah, it should be that easy. Just remember, always zero out your scale if you're adding things on, multiple toppings, things like that. And again, if you want to know exactly which food scale this is, then you'll find that link in the description. It's by Coffee Gator. I really love it. No affiliation. I don't have affiliations to anyone at this point, but that's okay. You'll know that all my recommendations are from the heart. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't, give me a little bit of YouTube love, like the video. Hope it was helpful to you, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you later. Oh no, I just realized that I didn't actually track the nuts in the app, so that's my bad. So 1 second, let me throw that in there so this whole video isn't a sham. Mixed nuts, change it from 28 grams to 14 because that's what we did, and the new macros come out to be 586 total calories and 69 grams of carbs, 20 grams of fat, 32 grams of protein. And that's the more honest thing. Before anyone calls me out on that in the comment section, I do apologize. Did not mean to leave that out, but those are the updated macros for this meal. Thanks for putting up with me. I will see you guys next time, for real this time.